Damn it! No! Ah! What the? Dude, today sucks. This has been the worst day ever. Can't catch shad, can't catch catfish. They got rid of the nachos, and my bang's warm. Welcome back to the Peeling Drag Podcast. I am Josh Dolan.
And I am Grant Alvis.
We are on episode 3. So, thanks for showing up.
You're still here.
Yeah. We've been working on fixing some of our audio quality stuff. I've said this for the third podcast in a row now.
I'm not allowed to drink anymore during the podcast or chew ice.
If you watched episode 2, if you watched it or listened to it in its entirety, you realize that Grant has an affinity for slurping his drink into the microphone. So we had to address that situation. But no, we're good to go now. We have a new HDMI switcher thing that should make it easier to edit this. Cool.
Starting off splendidly.
Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and turn that on silent. You think I would have done that beforehand, but I did not. But yeah, we have some new gear, so we're slowly building up and making the quality a little bit better on this thing. So hopefully by episode 100, we'll have our shit together. So it's good stuff. But anyway, we have a few new topics and new
fishing news.
Yeah. Well, no. What would you?
In today's top stories,
we have new segments. We have 2 new segments that we're kind of implementing. One we've done already, but we have a new one that we'll be implementing later on in the show. But let's go ahead and jump into some fishing news. I'll let you start first, Grant. You had a pretty interesting story you were mentioning there.
Yeah, this actually happened last week. It doesn't have a date on here. I thought it did. Anyway, a 12-year-old boy in Massachusetts caught a 11-foot great white shark while they were trolling for... Doesn't say what they were actually fishing for. I mean, I'm assuming tuna, but looking at the gear on the boat, it's probably a bluefin boat. But yeah, Campbell Keenan spent 45 minutes finding the fish and to reel it in close enough before they were able to see what it was. So they probably, for a while, thought it might have been a bluefin. I don't know. They probably thought it was something different because I wouldn't think a great white would be fighting like a bluefin.
How would you even catch a great white while you're trolling? It seems kind of
those guys
odd.
are on anchor up there, Massachusetts.
Okay.
So
well, clearly,
I don't know.
I know what I'm.
We realized it was a shark when it was like 20 feet away. This is a quote. So yeah, quote. We realized it was a shark when it was like 20 feet away. Probably, we had to get it in. We put this like
Jesus Christ! Look at the size of that tuna.
Y'all ever seen a tuna with teeth?
This is a 12-foot long tuna. Oh my god!
It says
we're millionaires.
We put this like buoy on it to make it like not go under.
That's definitely a 12-year-old.
That was the direct quote that Campbell told ABC News in the interview.
Nice. That's solid.
They could not that they would want to, but they could not remove the fish from the water because that's against the law. That's actually a federal law, supposedly. You're not allowed to remove a great white shark from the water unless you were doing research.
I'm sure you have to be like a certified researcher. You can't just be some dude. I'm researching.
Yeah, I'm researching. Researching what these fillets taste like.
Yeah. So see how long it can hang upside down before it passes out.
It says another splendid quote. When we pulled the rod up, it was like lifting a 50-pound weight. It was so hard to pull up. Anyway,
that is definitely a 12-year-old.
The fish turned out to be an 11-foot-long shark, estimated. This is the other part of the story that was kind of funny to us. It was estimated as 11 foot long, and it was estimated to be between 4 and 700 pounds.
I mean,
it was either this size or like twice that size.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, I'm sure they're familiar.
I don't
with
doubt
catching great
that
whites.
an 11-foot great white is at least 400 pounds, but like
Yeah.
I feel like they could have had a little tighter window on the size there. Either way, all jokes aside, really cool. 12-year-old kid caught probably a 400 to 500 pound great white.
It's a 12-year-old man.
Yeah, he's a man now. Says, Campbell did all the reeling, felt like he was getting taken for a ride. They did get kind of a cool picture, but the looks like the first mate photobombed it. They tried to like pull the fish up behind the boat and like get the captain to take like a selfie from the tower. The first mate's blocking the whole fish.
So it's basically the ass end of. There's 6 foot of the 12-foot shark in the photo.
Yeah, they're like pulling the fish close to the back of the boat, trying to get a picture of it. And while he's pulling, his head and torso is blocking from the nose of the fish all the way to the dorsal.
You can show that
you
camera
can
there.
maybe.
No, you can totally see it. I can.
Oh, here we go. Beautiful. We'll just zoom it in there. So, we screwed up.
Yeah,
there we go.
There you go.
So, yeah.
If you're
good first mate for the fight, I'm sure, but ruined the picture.
Nah, it's fine.
It's all right.
It happens.
Memories to last a lifetime. But the thing you got to remember is anyone who's ever been somewhere and talked to people who aren't fishermen and they somehow find out you are a fisherman, or someone's like, hey, man, let me introduce you to my buddy. All he does is fish. Within the first couple minutes, the question is always, you ever caught a shark?
Yeah.
This kid's like 12 years old. He gets to answer that question
for the rest
of his life. Not only did he catch a shark, he caught the shark. He caught a great white.
Yeah, that's pretty legit.
So.
I'm definitely envious of that kid. So if you happen to be listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anything like this and you want to see what we're talking about, I highly recommend you head over to the HRWT Studios and and that's on YouTube, and find this episode, and you can see kind of what we're talking about on camera. But yeah.
Yes, HRT Studios is on YouTube. It is not a physical location.
No, it's Have Rods Will Travel Studios. So HRWT Studios. I had to shorten it. The name was getting a little ridiculous, but
there's a 40-character limit on YouTube.
Yeah, either that or go to haverodswilltravel.com, go to the podcast tab, go to Peelin Drag, and you can see the whole podcast lineup there. So whatever floats your boat. But all right, well, cool. Mine is somewhat of a common theme from our last podcast we did. It was either number 2 or number 1. I talked about a state record burbot, and we have a state record burbot once again. It's just a different state this time. This is from the Indiana Division of Fish and Wildlife. I'll just read direct quote from their post. It says, "Whoa, a state record that has been held for 32 years has been broken twice in 2 weeks." So that's pretty cool. On December 30th of last year, we are recording this in the beginning of January, which is a scary thought. So last year was 2022. On December 30th of last year, Scott Scafar broke the state record burbot that had been set in 1990 with a 10.2 pound fish he caught from Lake Michigan. On January 10th, so just 2 weeks later, Philip Durax, I really need to practice these names, I guess, Duracz, Durax, caught a new state record burbot weighing 11 pounds 4 ounces. Or 11.4 pounds, I'm sorry. Also from Lake Michigan, he holds the Lake Whitefish state record, so that's pretty cool. 9.34 pounds.
Dude's got 2 different state records?
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, you don't see that too often. So that's how you know this dude's a good angler. He holds 2 separate state records in 2 completely separate species, so that's pretty cool. Yeah. But he caught that from Lake Whitefish state record, 9.34 pounds from Lake Michigan in 2021. So that was pretty cool. Looks like we have a research biologist quote here. It says, "The recent warm weather coupled with light winds has provided provided excellent opportunities for anglers to fish Lake Michigan. Oh my God, I cannot read today. Do you smell toast? I think I'm having a stroke. I don't know. Let me. You know what's great for a podcast? Not being able to freaking read. Jesus. All right, let me try. I'm off my game, folks. I've just spent 2 hours trying to set up all these cords. I feel like I'm in a spider web. We have so many HDMI cords and shit running around this room right now. All right, let me run that back. The recent warm weather coupled with light winds has provided excellent opportunities for anglers to fish Lake Michigan at a time they are usually unable to safely access the lake. Oh my. Well, had some hurdles to jump over there. Okay. Some may wonder if burbot are good to eat. The answer is yes. They have firm white flesh and a large liver, similar to cod. So if you want to just get weird, we're having burbot liver later.
Y'all got to eat burbot liver?
Yeah, jeez. Anyway, so congrats.
What if it's a hot item on the local diner menus?
Yeah.
We got some liver and onions. Is that beef liver? No, it's burbot liver.
It's really small. It's super fishy. Anyway, congrats to Philip. That's super cool, man. If you somehow hear this podcast, super proud of you, dude. 2 state records in 2 completely different species.
In like 2 years, too.
Yeah, in 2 years. 2
really less than 2 years by date, but like we're
2021 and 2022.
So.
But 2 what I would assume is 2 completely different angling disciplines as well. Whitefish and burbot, I imagine you target them completely. I don't think those were caught
doing the same thing.
No, so super awesome stuff. You don't see dual world state record.
Did it have the date for the whitefish record?
It just says 2021.
I was curious if they were both through the ice.
I don't know. It'd be interesting. I have to look it up after this, but cool. Good stuff.
How far south are burbot? Like they're all up there in like Great Lakes and further north.
Yeah, I think they don't really drop.
I know they don't come anywhere near us, but
no. Well, they have them in like I want to say they have them in like Pennsylvania or Jersey. Some of those New England states have burbot for sure, but I think they're kind of like a Great Lakesy like sort of thing. And I know
like never see anybody catch them other than through the ice.
No, they're definitely like the northern part of the country for sure. Yeah. But super cool. And then just another one I have here to round it off. I hunt the IGFA Instagram for a lot of these just a lot of these record fish that we're reporting on here. But they just have a recap of one that was caught last year. On January 30th, 2022, Mauricio Silva, he had a hell of a...
We gotta choose people with easier names for Josh.
Dude, this dude has 4 names. I'm just saying, I had to shorten it. I'll give it a stat. No.
Don't.
Okay.
Don't.
Okay. Mauricio Silva's beautiful 91-centimeter speckled peacock bass to tie the IGFA all-tackle length world record for the species. He was fishing the Matavin River in Colombia when this beautiful peacock struck his jig. And I'll hold it up there for the camera. You really can't
blue fins are wild.
Yeah, those peacocks are nuts. Like Miami and South Florida has those butterflies or whatever they are that they don't get much bigger than like 8-ish pounds, but these things, I mean, you've seen the videos. They get like
25 pounds.
Yeah, they're massive. It's insane. So super cool stuff. That's all I have for fishing news. So we'll move on to the new tackle and gear, and I'll let you go ahead and take it away. You sound like you had a pretty good one when we were talking about it.
I mean, nothing super crazy, but being a Hobie fishing team member, this one caught my eye. Hobie is not, they've never really been known exactly for their color selection. They just in the past couple years, they started coming out with a lot of new colors, or at least I should say like blended colors. Yeah, for the longest time, it was like that sand color, like dune, red, papaya.
Yeah, they kept it pretty basic.
And blue. Mm-hmm. Like, and then they finally came out with camo, and then the 360 came out. They came out with the Amazon and the blue and white swirl. I can't remember what I think they called that Arctic camo.
Yeah.
But anyway, the new color is Sunrise Camo, and I will 100% be getting it. It's like an orange and black swirl boat, and I am a big fan of orange, and we can kind of show it to the camera. You can see it on there.
Yeah.
It's yeah, I mean it's like sunrise orange just with splotches of black all over it. Let me go back into images on Google here.
Yeah.
It's going to be available in the see, that's another new thing they've been doing. All the, like, I guess what you would call premium colors. It started when they started coming out with camo. They typically are only bringing those colors out in the Outback and the Pro Anglers, just because that's the two most popular boats.
Right.
But yeah, so the Outback and the Pro Angler will be available in the Sunrise Camo.
Is that
color.
The only new color they're rolling out?
Yeah. They typically only do one new one a year now.
I got you.
They went like 10 years and never came out with a new color. Now they seem to come out with a new one every year. So
yeah,
that's cool.
I mean, not for nothing, but when you're talking about kayaks that are like $5,000, you got to add in any extra incentive you can to get people to want to buy them. So
also, this was brought back too, the Hobie iTrek Fiesta.
it's on an emailing list right now.
Sorry.
Yeah. You fat-fingered it, so.
Let's try that again. The iTrek Fiesta.
Oh, the 4-person inflatable pedal drive. I don't even have enough friends to fill that boat out, so I won't be buying
Apparently, like, no bullshit, these are really popular.
Really?
They sold like crazy last year. And see, they replaced the, remember the i11 I used to have?
Yeah.
Now they call that the iTrek series. There's an i10, i11. I think there's an i9.
Okay.
No, there's an i9 and i11 and i13, and then it goes to like an this.
I could see that being popular in like the Villages, Florida, with like retirees and
they ain't all getting on a float.
Snowbird.
That would not be good.
I thought y'all went out with 4 people. Yeah, Larry had a heart attack.
just rolled him off.
It's terrible. I don't know. I mean, it's a cool concept.
It's
but
one of those things like a family's going to buy that.
Sure. How to get your siblings to freaking hate you. Let's all try to paddle in
who's going to buy
unison.
that? Not even like, I don't think families are going to buy it. I think like
nobody.
Paddle boat companies are going to buy it.
Okay.
Like you could see something like that paddling around, not Shields Lake, but the Swan Lake.
I guess. Sure.
It's going to be like those bikes with 12 people on them at the beach, and everyone's like, oh, this will be such a great idea.
Except instead of
At least the Hobie drive is efficient, so that thing probably moves, honestly.
So instead of getting drunk and riding your bike through the grass, you're going to get drunk, roll over in the surf, and die.
Drown.
Yeah, so
Dude,
great.
I bet you that thing is impossible to flip. That thing is... You have 2 people sitting side by side.
Yeah, you're not...
Take a picture with the people in it.
It's a jumbo air mattress. There's no...
It's way bigger than a king-size mattress.
Yeah.
It's got to be 16 feet long.
It looks like a giant flip-flop. Like, if we're being real. I don't know. What's the MSRP on that thing? Like $30,000?
4,600.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. So what do you get? Like 3 of your friends and you all split the
4,600. It
cost?
comes with 4 Mirage drives.
Jesus.
It's $4,000 in Mirage drives. You're only paying $600 for 4 seats and an inflatable boat.
I see a new market here. We buy
We're
those.
just gonna buy a ton of those.
We buy them and flip the Mirage drive.
I thought it was gonna be like $8,000, and I pulled it up like.
I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things they just put out to like.
Hey, no worries. It comes with 1 paddle.
Good. So who's the lucky bastard that gets to paddle 900 pounds of human being back to shore?
Made just... Dude, that i11 I had was awesome. And this thing is made... First off, fully rigged weight. What do you think it weighs? Crazy.
What's the length on it?
It is... Hold on.
14 feet long?
15 feet long and 80 inches wide.
Okay.
It is almost as wide as my skiff.
Okay, and then are we talking the weight with the Mirage drives?
There is, you can guess either one. There's a fitted hull weight and a fully rigged weight.
I'll guess the 40 Jesus, I cannot speak today. The fully rigged weight, 250 pounds. 200 pounds.
100 pounds.
There's no way.
The
There's
fitted
no
hull
way.
weight is 78 pounds. The fully rigged weight, Mirage drives, and seats included is 100 pounds.
I guess I'd jump the shark on 250 pounds. But still, though.
And it's just like that I-11. It folds up into a bag. The bag dimensions are 59 inches by 43 inches by... Dude, this thing's winning me over. This thing's cool.
I don't know. Okay.
150 by 110 by 40 centimeters.
Do you remember the time we took my big tuna tandem into the James River and how
terrifying that was?
Yeah.
We didn't even try to fish out of it. We were just
we were crossing the river
to go fish the canal.
Yeah. So imagine that plus 2 more people. No, thank you.
Well, and nowhere near as unstable, though.
I guess. I don't know. Whatever. I want to see that 12-year-old kid get on that thing and fight a 12-foot great white.
Bro, like 4 Mirage drives, 4. I mean, I know what those seats cost.
Dude, I'm telling we have
one of my buddies lost a seat, and he was like, "Hey, can you look up how much one of those seats costs for me?" And I was like, "Oh."
I mean, we have a complete side hustle in just buying those and flipping the components. It's
selling for they're turbo fins too.
Jeez.
It's the $1,000 drive.
I don't know. I don't know enough about stuff, but
I think that drive's $900.
That's a bit ridiculous. Anyway,
that's one when they released that thing last year, I didn't really have an opinion on it because it was so far out of anything I would ever want.
Yeah.
I was just like, whatever. That's something that, like, I could see a market for that. Like, rental boat companies and stuff definitely are going to buy that.
Yeah, I mean...
But then, like, I didn't think they were going to bring it back a second year. They do that a lot with boats. Like, they'll bring one out for 1 year, doesn't sell. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Missed the mark.
Like what the 17T.
That was out for 2 years.
Yeah, the Pro Angler Tandem.
I'm surprised they got rid of those as quick as they did, but that thing was...
That probably did weigh 250 pounds.
In hindsight, that boat was $5,000 when it came out, and everybody was like, "Yeah, that's way too expensive. Nobody's gonna ever pay that."
Yeah, now
and now a PA
fine.
360 is $5,000. So
that thing, I mean, I could see that being an interesting boat, like doubling up and going and like trolling for mahi
especially
or something.
if you legit, I mean, you're gonna put a motor on it. It's like if you put like a big torpedo on it, it would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I could see surf launching it
and trolling for mahi in this.
You could like take it down to Texas, go out and fish the wheel rigs. You have 2 people, so if anything bad happens, you're either both screwed or
there's a lot of people that guide out of them. People build.
I could see that
platforms on the back. They pole them and stuff.
Yeah, I could see that.
This is the PA 17T, not the inflatable Fiesta boat.
Yeah, the Fiesta boat.
That's what it's called. It's the iTrek Fiesta.
All right. Well.
All right. Anyway, that thing won me over. That thing's cool.
Okay.
So I don't care. I'm
whatever.
in the minority.
Whatever you say. All right. Well, now we have a new section that we implemented last episode, which we will be continuing to utilize moving forward, and that is the listener questions / listener suggested topic section. Just essentially, if you want to participate in this, email us at havrods@gmail.com or comment under one of our social media postings.
Periodically, we'll post maybe once or twice a week asking about if you have any questions for the podcast. And are we going to let them know if we pick them?
Yeah, usually.
Yeah, we'll let you know on the post if we choose your stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if we pick your topic or your questions, we will obviously give you a shout out your Instagram, whatever you want to do there. But we have a few questions from our buddy.
Also, if we don't pick you, just keep asking it.
Well,
post it again, or post it again, or we might go back and look at it. But don't be like, "Oh, never asking that question again."
Yeah,
it doesn't mean we chose not to pick you.
If they're solid questions, we'll get to them eventually. Hopefully,
what color is my underwear?
Yeah, no, Jesus. Hopefully we have that problem where enough people care about this podcast that they want.
Not likely.
Yeah, anyway. So we have our buddy Rob Recker here. He is recker.rob on Instagram.
Fellow Hobie team member, by the way.
Fellow Hobie team member, fellow Virginian, and I think he might have moved recently. But what, is it raining again outside?
No, sounded like somebody died in your front yard. I don't know if you heard that.
Did you hear it?
Sounded like a moose just got hit in your front
It's just
yard.
a car. I don't know. Well, unless
I know it was like a 1990s Honda Civic, but it sounded like a moose just died in your yard.
No, it's 2 episodes in a row where you've gotten distracted by that window next to you, so it's fine. All right, so our buddy Rob Recker, who has an awesome name, sent us a couple questions, and we're just going to kind of go down through the questions and answer them. And
He did ask a lot of questions, didn't he?
not a lot. No, he asked the exact
They were
amount
all
of
good
questions.
ones.
Yeah, for sure. So he says, this topic could easily be multiple episodes. What can the VDWR do better or improve? And then possible solutions. So that's kind of an open-ended question. What can the Virginia Department of Wildlife Resources improve?
That could be its own episode. But
We are supporters of our state agency, but I think the thing that comes to mind immediately for both of us is the citation paperwork, the trophy fish paperwork you get for the state. They have added cool species over the last 3 years and given us more to do, but they've switched the actual certificate up from being some really cool artwork you get with your name and date and the catch and everything on it, and a species-specific artwork for
And
the
it was
trophy.
actually a good friend of mine that worked with me at Bass Pro for years, Michael Simon, a local artist. He did all the artwork on all the fish license plates you can get in Virginia, and they just got rid of it.
Yeah, so
it's kind of frustrating.
it's not that they got rid of it. It's they got rid of it, and the alternative is far, far worse. It looks like something a child might get in kindergarten as a participation trophy.
It's
so
it's a Microsoft Word document.
Right. So I don't want to harp on this particular question too much right now, because I feel like it's going to come back up later on in this episode with our main topic for today. But possible solutions, change it. Change it back.
There were 25 original ones. At least let the 25 original species still get the original paperwork.
But anyway, we'll dive into that later. Why every fish can be a sport fish. That was more of a statement, but I know what he's saying with the question is, why can't everything on our species list become a sport fish? Technically, a sport fish or a game fish is something that you target, I guess, to eat, and or I think
game fish is to eat, sport fish is for sport.
I guess either way. I see what he's saying though. Why are some things classified differently than others when the majority
why do some people consider something a trash fish and other fish are
when you're catching and releasing longnose gar the same way you catch and release largemouth bass is considered a game fish, longnose gar is considered a trash fish or a rough fish or a non-game fish, but you're basically doing the same thing. You're spending money to catch them. Chances are you're not harvesting largemouth bass. I'd say the overwhelming majority of people aren't. So I see what you're saying, man. And I think the tide is turning on that. Actually, a good thing you can mention is the bow fishing.
Yeah, they actually, one thing the VDWR did do very well, they have updated the laws for bow fishing, which is...
Sounds like this should have been in fishing news and we forgot to mention it earlier.
So, fishing news part 2. Anyway, but so they updated the laws on bow fishing. 2 of our main native species that have always been massive targets for bow fishing, which is sad to say the least. The bowfin and the gar, the regulations have been changed. It used to be... I believe gar and bowfin both. Gar were a 10 fish per person bag limit, and bowfin were 5. This is per person per day.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, gar were 10.
I didn't even think they were.
I know they had a bag limit. Gar had 10, but it's so high it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
you've got 3 people in the boat. You have 30 gar.
Yeah,
and no one's policing it. But anyway,
it's now that's the biggest part.
It's now on paper. In the rule book, from April 15th to July 15th, which the significance of those dates are
spawning.
That is the spawning season for both species. The bag limit has now been lowered to 1 per person per day for both gar and bowfin.
Yeah,
still higher than we'd all like it to be. It should be illegal, at least if you're going to outlaw during the spawn. But we severely dropped it. Hopefully, it deters people from even wanting to go mess with them. And after that, it goes back to, I believe, 5.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember where you might be able to pull it up on your
I have
phone
it on
pretty
my
quick.
Facebook.
I'm adjusting some of my audio levels right now. I think I was a little quiet, so if you notice a change in the sorry about that. Sorry. I know it's making a terrible noise. I don't know how to make it stop.
Yes.
Okay.
So April 15th to June 30th. Sorry, it is.
So that's spawning season.
Yes. So spawn
when they're
1 per
easiest
day,
to shoot,
and it's 5 per day, July 1st to April 14th. So the biggest thing about July 1st to April 14th, anybody that knows about bow fishing in this area, the places they're bow fishing, once July gets here, the grass has grown up a lot. So when they're trying to get in the shallows, they're a lot harder to shoot once that grass grows up because they have places to hide, especially the bowfin.
Right.
So, while it may be 5 per day from July 1st to April 14th, the rest of the summer there's so much grass they struggle, and then once it gets cold they go deep. So no one's out there bow fishing in the cold.
Yeah, and the big thing about changing it for the spring is literally when gars school up to spawn, you could hit them. Yeah, I mean, you can hit them in the head with a paddle if you wanted to. There's so many of them, and they're so dumb. They have one thing on the mind, and you can basically pick them up out of the water with your hands. They're so easy. So it's not a lot of sporting in there to shoot them that way. So the bow fishing thing, it's gotten such a stronghold in our outdoors culture nowadays that I don't think it's going away. But, which, it is what it is. We do have a blue cat problem, so by all means shoot the blue cats and kind of knock those numbers down.
That's the other thing. The DWR, there's another thing they could do better, just to touch on it. Yeah. There does not need to be a limit on blue cats. Yeah, this is just dumb.
We have too many.
One fish per day over 38 inches.
Anytime we bring this up, we can definitely end up receiving some heat from catfishermen, but from multi-species anglers that target everything and don't just fish for catfish, we have a catfish problem. There's too many of them. But, so it's good to see some regulations being put in place for a native species to try to help them along,
Yeah, I mean, fish that have been here before humans were a thing.
Yeah, so. I think people that have a problem with gar and bowfin haven't spent the time to fish for them and really appreciate them. I mean, you're always going to have the guys that hate them no matter what. But if you're a newbie listening to this and you're new to the world of fishing and you want to go out and experience some cool stuff and you don't want to
expand your horizons beyond the fish that you could just go into Bass Pro and buy baits for. Like,
you can hit either one of us up on social media and we'd be more than happy to help you figure out how to catch your first gar or bowfin. We want to educate people on these species because they are so cool and they've been here so long. So, get out there and try to catch them. But it is cool to see some regulations being put in place for those things to try to protect them moving forward. Yeah. Especially for me, considering I'm trying to catch a state record longnose gar, and it's disheartening when people are smoking them with an arrow all the time. But it is what it is.
Segue to the next question. Which state record would you want to beat?
Yeah, well, there you go. That that's pretty solid. I didn't even notice that. I legitimately have a list of probably 15 species that I have like state record stuff in mind, which sounds crazy, but I had this list of 15 prior to me beating the fall fish state record this May. So, one thing at a time. 14. Don't doubt me. I'll prove you wrong. No, but I would say my two big ones right now, or my two pie in the sky ones, are longnose gar, just because everything I just mentioned. I like fishing for gar so much. I love the species. And flathead catfish. Neither one of them I've put forth 100% of my effort, so I'm still kind of the beginning stages of doing it. I've tried for the gar a few times, and I've gotten within striking distance, but I still haven't broke the 20-pound mark, and 25 pounds is our state record. So I have a long way to go on that. But flathead catfish would be mine.
The gar, we've seen the fish.
Yeah, the giants are out there. There's no question.
We've
about
both
that.
laid eyes on multiple fish that easily break that record.
We went for white perch the other day and literally saw probably half a dozen on sonar that had to be absolutely massive. Yeah. Which reminds me, Grant was bitching last episode of not having a white perch citation.
Hate them. Hate them.
It just so happened I went fishing this weekend
while I was working the fly fishing show
and caught a white perch citation. I don't want to rub it in or anything, but caught another trophy white perch without you. It's fine. But That and the flathead catfish. I cut my teeth chasing flathead catfish. It was my first like species that wasn't farm pond largemouth bass. So the flathead kind of opened me up to the world of chasing bigger fish. So that is my favorite fish species, and that is one that I want to try to get the state record in, and it's one that I think I have a pretty decent idea about where he might be, but any of this stuff's just about putting the time in,
Yeah.
It is what it is. But do you have one that...
It's a long shot because,
I've never known you to talk about wanting to break records or anything, but...
Probably, the number one for me would be the bowfin.
Yeah.
16.4 pounds. That's
freaking giant.
Massive. And, the thing is, the Virginia state record bowfin is one of the biggest ones. If you look all across the country at the bowfin records, they're all between, 14 and 18 pounds.
Yeah. I think there's
one that's at, 20. But
yeah. There's a few 20s, I think.
It's Michigan. It's 21 pounds.
That can't be right.
It's one state is 21 pounds.
I think it's Florida.
Weird.
I don't know.
It's a northern state. I can't remember. But either way, 16.4. That's really big. But I'm pretty sure I've seen a fish that would challenge that. It's, I don't know. I have a feeling a state record bowfin's going to get caught by a catfisherman one day.
Yeah.
They get caught on cut bait a lot accidentally. I feel like that's who's probably going to catch it. But
yeah,
I can't imagine a 16-pound bowfin on artificial at the end of the line.
You and I have talked about this a dozen times. It's not so. There's a bunch of factors that go into
that's part of the reason why I think a catfisherman's gonna be the one to catch it, because they're geared to catch it. If you hook a 16-pound bowfin on a medium heavy bass rod on a spinnerbait, you're done. It's gonna break the spinnerbait. It's gonna break the rod. You're not catching the fish.
Yeah, you and I talk about this all the time. It's not just finding the fish, it's also being equipped to land it and
prepared when the fish bites,
not screwing it up. Right. Which is,
with a bowfin, good lord, I probably hooked 100 bowfin last year and landed 15.
It's
frustrating.
Catching a bowfin is like trying to get a wet house cat into a bag. They're just freaking out. That's the best analogy I could come up with off the top of my head. But think about a house cat, you've gotten it wet and you have to try to get into a cat carrier, and how insane that cat is going to be. That's what it's like trying to land a bowfin. They absolutely freak out. So unless you have heavy gear, heavy line, heavy hooks, heavy everything, and you execute perfectly to where you don't lose that fish, that's the only way you're going to catch it.
And even when you get it in the boat, that thing is going to destroy everything when it's in the boat.
Yeah, and then you might go through all that, and that fish might be 15 pounds, 14 ounces. Yeah. You know what I mean? It didn't have that extra bluegill in its stomach to, get it there. So... But and then Rob's next question is, can the state record largemouth bass be beaten?
Which state record do you think may never be beaten?
I'm sorry, I skipped that one.
Channel cat.
No.
Isn't it 38 pounds?
32. I don't know, man. I talked to that biologist with the Suffolk Lakes, and he said that there's a solid chance. Blue cat is big.
It's
143 pounds.
We've fished those lakes a lot and caught a lot of channel. What's the biggest one we've caught, just realistically?
14 pounds. I know what you're saying.
We're 40% of the way there.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Keep.
Where was that fish caught? The state record channel cat?
Rappahannock River. I'm pretty.
It was a blue.
I'm pretty sure it might have been a misidentified blue cat.
We see misidentified walleye and sawguy getting posted all the time.
Yeah. I'm trying to bring up the Virginia state record fish list.
In one of the Virginia sauger citations that there's a picture of out there, a walleye.
No, the sauger's definitely a sauger. It's 3 pounds.
One of the citation pictures of a sauger that I have seen was a walleye.
I opened it up, and the first one is a 4-pound, 10-ounce black crappie. There's no...
Black crappie, no way.
A 4-pound, 10-ounce black crappie?
For a second, I was like, white crappie. Not impossible. Much more likely a white, but obviously now they're separated.
Yeah, there's, A 4-pound 10-ounce black crappie. Backstory: that was caught by a 4-year-old with a Snoopy rod. I don't know
Of course it was.
you'll be able to see that photo or not if you're watching the YouTube version of this, but the guy holding it is the kid's dad. The angler is the 4-year-old boy standing beside with his Power Rangers hoodie on. So, 4-pound 10-ounce black crappie, probably never going to be beaten. Let's see.
I think blue cat will get beaten in the next couple years.
The brown trout's an iffy one. 14-pound, 12 ounces. That's a big brown, but you might run into one in one of the lakes that just happens to go 15. You're never
1985 was 1811.
Yeah, out of Smith River. You're never going to get a 15-pound brown trout out of a stream.
49-pound 4-ounce common carp.
I think that fish is out there.
Yeah,
I
mean
think
it's
out
not
there.
like insane, but that is just so big.
Yeah.
But carp get bigger
Well,
than that.
here's the answer to the question. The state record that'll never be beaten, 8-pound, 12-ounce coho salmon.
Yeah.
That was set in 1971. We don't even have coho salmon. We haven't for
Phil pot,
decades.
they don't even put them in there anymore.
Yeah. Let's see. What else? Hybrid striper is going down this year. I'm calling it 15-pound, 13-ounce hybrid striper. That's going to get caught out of Lake Anna for sure.
They don't separate tiger and regular muskie. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I would say the northern pike at 31 pounds 4 ounces, but I bet you there's a giant out there
4-pound,
somewhere.
12-ounce red ear sunfish.
Yeah, that's not getting beaten.
Private pond.
No way. That's
1986.
That's double the size of most.
First off, a lot of Virginia state records have like a pre-1985. What's the deal with that?
They changed like the qualifications for it, I think.
Well, this one was caught in 1986.
Yeah, well, that's when they like wiped all the old records.
4-pound, 12-ounce red ear sunfish.
Yeah,
massive.
I don't see that. Both the panfish, yeah. So both the panfish records.
Sauger, 3 pounds. Ronald Davis.
Yeah, that was caught a couple
like...
of years ago. I've seen the picture of that fish. It's Sauger's one of those ones like you could easily run into the state record because if you're getting lucky enough to run into a sauger, I mean, what the hell? The chances are it could be a state record. It's hard enough to catch sauger as it is.
Yeah.
You never know what you're going to get, you know?
All the rest are beatable, I think. 3-pound, 2-ounce white perch.
53-pound, 7-ounce striped bass. I don't know. I don't know if there's anywhere left in the state that'll produce one that's bigger than 53 pounds. That was caught in Lee's.
Smith's the only place.
Yeah,
Smith
but
Mountain.
You don't see... I mean, when's the last time you've seen a 30-pounder come out of Smith Mountain Lake?
30s are pretty common. They're caught by the live shad guides and stuff. But, 53 is huge.
Yeah.
It was caught in Leesville Reservoir, too.
I would say walleye, but we almost saw that getting broken.
We know somebody who's almost beaten that.
Yeah, literally 15-pound, 15-ounce walleye out of the new
fact
river.
that our old record was 22 pounds 8 ounces.
Yeah, and the guy we both know who we've talked to at the boat ramp before caught one that was 15.6 maybe.
Yeah, it was within
half a pound of the
ounces.
state.
It was close.
Yeah. So those fish are out there. That's the cool. When I get thinking and talking about this stuff, that is the coolest part about all this for me, is because you look at a list like this, and it's like, God, these numbers are so huge. It's like I can't even imagine a 16-pound walleye.
There's a goldfish bow fishing record.
Yeah, that's up in D.C.
Yeah.
But anyway, what I was saying, it's just you hear this stuff, and like these numbers are almost unobtainable, and then somebody just go pop one off, and it's like,
It's like smallmouth.
Mm-hmm.
We personally know someone who 100% caught a bigger smallmouth than that state record.
Or Buddy
released
Brian
it.
Strife, caught one that was probably 9 pounds, something like that.
It was over 8.1.
Yeah,
like,
on
no
a fly,
question.
right on a
Caught
fly rod.
On a fly rod on top water in August.
In a river.
Fish was 25.5 inches long.
Yeah, so that's the thing, man. Like you see these records, and it's like, man, those it's like a pie in the sky.
3-pound 2-ounce white perch.
Yeah, that's a big one. But that was just broken in 2012. I mean, private pond's like the ace in the hole. If you got a private pond with white perch in it, you can grow them as big as you want to.
Looks like our largest state record fish is a blue cat. It's 143 pounds.
Oh, here's one that'll never be beaten: 6-pound, 13-ounce white bass. That's actually the world record. It is.
What is it?
The white bass.
Oh yeah.
Out of Lake Orange. That's
not getting beaten.
That's the all tackle world record for white bass. But yeah, man. Let me finish this thought before we go on. Just keep interrupting it. That is the part about this stuff that is the coolest to me. It's the fact that you look at a list like this and you go down through the state records and you go, these are massive, they'll never be beaten, and then a guy we know goes and rattles off a walleye that's almost 16 pounds. It's like, or Brian Strife catching that smallmouth. You catch the same size fish so much, you kind of get disheartened. It's like, those giants aren't out there still, but they are. Those huge fish are out there. It's just a matter of time for people to run into them. But that's all I had to say about that. It's cool. But yeah, my vote, Rob, would be the 4 pound, 10 ounce black crappie. I never see
that red ear.
And the red ear. And the
4 pound, 13 ounce red ear sunfish out of a pond.
Yeah, that's the red ear's the red ear's probably more.
That fish was eating cornmeal. That was a 100% hand fed fish.
Yeah, I'd say your red ear takes the vote, because I could see a super freak crappie growing huge in a pond, but a red ear, I mean, that's huge. That's larger than my laptop. That's a Lake Havasu red ear.
Yeah. I mean, that's like the size of the ones they were catching. They caught that one was like 5 pounds, and it was on the front of like every fishing story.
Yeah, right. Okay, well, his next question, can the state record largemouth be beat? And I say absolutely, especially with what we've seen out of O.H. Ivy and Josh Jones and all those guys down there fishing with the live
with
scopes.
Technology now, you're going to start seeing an average size of these fish getting caught is going to go up.
What makes you think about like these lakes that have those big fish in it, but they're suspended? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's and we'll probably tie this question into our topic today. Our topic today has everything to do
with bass,
trophy fish, and largemouth. So we'll get into that later.
The state record largemouth, though, what is it? 16.8, 16.4?
I have it right here. It is
16 something.
It is largemouth bass, 16 pounds 4 ounces out of Lake Connor, and
I get those two mixed up. 16.8 is the bowfin, 16.4 is the bass.
Mm-hmm. That was May 20th, 1985, by Richard Tate. And that I mean, 16 pound, almost 16 and a half pound largemouth for Virginia.
If I remember correctly, I don't think a bass over 10 pounds has been registered out of that lake in like 10 years either.
I don't know. I think it still has some good genes. I can't just say stuff like that because I have no idea. I don't pay enough attention to any of it, but I'm sure there's some guys catching hammers in Lake Connor.
It's a largemouth, so there's no point in even trying to guess where it would come from because every lake has them.
I would say if you had a gun to my head right now and you said, how was the next state record largemouth going to get caught? I would say it's going to come out of one of these lakes that gets stocked with trout, like an Elkhorn Lake or something like that. One of these featureless fishbowl lakes that gets inundated with stocker rainbows every fall, and those fish don't get fished for because nobody's really bass fishing these lakes, and it's sitting there eating trout, getting big, and it's probably suspended most of the time.
There's like two schools of thought. It's either going to be in one of those western lakes that get stocked with trout.
Yeah.
The thing is, they stock trout in lakes all the way down in Chesapeake.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if some of those lakes, but the problem is none of the lakes in Chesapeake are big enough.
Yeah.
You need a bigger body of water. That's known. A 16-pound fish isn't going to grow in a pond. Like, they got to be to a certain size body of water.
Probably one in Sandy River right now. It's a state record.
Probably.
I mean, we fished that Yak Attack tournament a couple of years ago, and they had the shocking
They
boat
shocked
out there.
up like a 13-pounder right in front of me when I was pre-fishing.
Yeah, it's like a 14-pounder or something like that. So those fish, that's the thing. Those fish are out there.
Like, I was out there pre-fishing, just messing around. It was like 2 weeks before the tournament, and the shocking boat jumped in front of me. Like, while I was going down a bank, and the guy yelled to me. He said, "Hey, man, you mind if we cut in front of you?" I was like, "I'm trying to fish down this bank." And he says, "Oh, no worries. We're going to be quick.
We're going to ruin your day really fast."
Shocking fish that I'm trying to catch. He got 30 yards in front of me, put the chains down, and a 14-pounder shocked up right in front. Not saying I would have caught it.
They stole that fish from you.
But there's 0% chance I could catch it now.
They stole that fish from you. How dare they? I tell you what, state record's never going to get broken. That 3-pound, 9-ounce fall fish caught by Josh Dolan last year.
It'll get broken by Josh Dolan.
Yeah, with a 4-pounder. You better believe it. I'm going back for it.
But largemouth bass could definitely be beaten, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be... It's either going to be...
The two schools of thought, I didn't finish that thought. The two schools of thought are a trout lake, somewhere that gets stocked with trout, which there's dozens of lakes in the state that could be potential big enough, get stocked with trout, or somewhere in the southeastern part of the state that has a longer growing season.
I could 100% see one of those a fish that size coming out of one of the Suffolk lakes.
Yeah.
Just given the
amount of food,
biomass and food that they have.
Yeah.
I mean, everything we catch out of the Suffolk lakes is big. Every species. So, I don't know. I would say there's no less than a dozen state record largemouth swimming out there right now somewhere. It's just a matter of time before somebody runs into one. And then you have the factor of private ponds.
Yeah.
And these dudes stocking them with bait fish.
Tiger bass.
Yeah, stocking them with tiger bass, giving them plenty of food, creating a bass factory, and then boom, somebody rattles off a 17-pound largie that's full of food, which, we can argue whether or not should be accepted, but it is what it is. And then Rob's last question here, is the
Virginia tarpon the Holy Grail citation?
And I would say for saltwater, probably. It depends on how much you really care about it. But isn't the tarpon citation pretty small? Isn't it like if you catch one, you get a citation?
It's just if you land one.
Like a catch and release tarpon.
There's a minimum.
Right.
It's like billfish. If you catch a billfish out of Virginia, that's a citation.
I wouldn't say that.
If it's not, it's something. It's fairly small. Like any one you catch is going to be paid
I'd
for.
say just a Virginia tarpon, whether or not it is a citation, is
I mean, I wouldn't even worry about the citation so much. I would just say landing a Virginia tarpon is huge.
Yeah.
But then again, Josh and I have talked about this a lot. Not like throwing shade on anybody that spends a lot of time doing it. There are guys who catch quite a few of them.
Yeah.
Quite a few of them in the summertime.
I just think
they're in such a remote location. Mm-hmm. It's not a cheap trip for anybody unless you live over there. They're just not getting fished for that much. There's not a lot of guys over there playing with them. Not as many as you would think.
It takes a hardcore angler that knows the water well, that really cares about doing it. And there's not a lot of guys that have all those ingredients.
And trust me, there's a lot of guys who have spent many, many, many hours over there to catch them and haven't done it. So, I mean, it's not saying it's not extremely difficult, because it definitely is. I mean, tarpon are hard in Florida where you see them every day.
A lot of our buddies that have tried it have also kind of hamstringed themselves in trying to do it in kayaks, too, which is just another added layer of difficulty.
If kayak, if I'm going in the skiff.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is we know tons of guys that went and tried to do it, but they're trying to do it in kayaks, which, is incredibly difficult. So, and I know where they're doing it, because if you catch one in the kayak, you're the man. Yeah. So, but I don't know. Somebody might have done it. Maybe. I feel like I don't know. But anyway, catching a Virginia tarpon is top of the list stuff, man. I mean,
in terms of sport fish in Virginia, that's probably I mean, I can't imagine anything being much higher than that.
For those of you that don't know, the tarpon species about as far north of its range as you get is the Virginia Eastern Shore.
Yeah.
So we're probably the tip top of their range, and they're only here for maybe 2 months, something like that. Very short window when we're at our hottest, when the water's at its hottest up here. So there's a very short window.
Right on back.
Yeah, we really shouldn't even have them up here, but they come up here. So, and then I'd say, I mean, obviously the freshwater holy grail is that sauger. The Holy Grail trophy citation for freshwater's got to be sauger. It's such an obscure species. It's incredibly difficult.
And our requirement is massive.
Yeah, our requirement's bigger than most sauger that you're going to catch. I mean,
anywhere.
It's
like, not just in Virginia, but just anywhere.
I know it's the requirement, I believe, is 18 inches. I can bring it up real quick, but it's silly big. I mean, it's the same deal. Like catching a sauger in Virginia is hard enough as it is.
Well, the rivers that they're in, nobody that fishes there gives a crap about sauger.
They're in a part of the state that doesn't. It's not super technologically savvy.
The rivers you're talking about are like 30 feet wide.
I'm trying to think of like the description. It's secluded. That's probably the best way to put it. There's not a lot of people there. There's not a lot of people fishing there, and there's not a lot of people giving two shits about a sauger.
Side of the state too. There's just not a lot of. I mean,
it's like West Virginia. There's not a lot of jobs. You kind of got to go out of your way to get a job somewhere out of state or whatever. So it's just that it's a very rural part of the state.
It's
So,
like the most Appalachia you get in Virginia.
yeah. So it is as far away from Richmond as you can possibly get. You're talking about the Clinch and Powell rivers. It's a 6-hour drive from Richmond. So
You could. There's like very few places in the state of Virginia you can drive more than 6 hours without driving in circles. And
we're
still
talking about
be
like
in the state.
down near Bristol, Tennessee, like way down there. So the thing about the sauger is most citations that are caught on accident, and there's not a lot of information about them, and it's just kind of a hard thing to do. It's a very specific time of year in a very specific place with almost no info about it. If you get any sort of rain, it ruins the water and makes it impossible. And on top of all that,
very short season to fish for them too.
2 pounds or 18 inches. That's a big sauger anywhere that has sauger. I mean, Ohio.
Even places that have a lot.
The Ohio River Valley, all that stuff. Those places that have big sauger.
Even those guys that catch them accidentally while they're like walleye fishing in the Great Lakes.
Yeah,
the ones they catch are like 12 inches long.
That's a big. And it's not. You can't just hire a guide and show up and catch
no
sauger.
one guides for sauger.
Yeah, like the guys that hire guides to do some of the citation stuff. You're not gonna hire a guide for sauger. Like, you have to go do it. So
there's quite a few species you're not gonna be able to hire a guide for.
Yeah, it's not a lot of freshwater drum. Actually, I take that back.
You'll get them accidentally while you're crapping
your
fishing.
northern pike guide doesn't exist.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Anyway,
take me out for a guided trip for saw guy.
Yeah, you probably have a better chance at saw guy than a lot of these other things. But I don't know. It's just sauger's the freshwater one. It's I accidentally opened TikTok. I'm trying to get us ready for our next segment. But yeah, just to put a bow on that, I would say tarpon is definitely the Virginia saltwater citation. That's kind of the holy grail, and freshwater's 100% without question the sauger. So it's two very difficult species to catch.
Yeah, and the holy grail thing, it's definitely goes person to person too.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you care about. Yeah. Most people don't give two shits about a sauger. No. Rightfully so, because why?
It's the holy grail for the master angler chasing people like us that are chasing all the different species.
Yeah.
But if you're just fishing, I would say probably the most popular holy grail fish is a freaking bass.
Yeah.
Like the most popular sport fish.
Right. So
but that's all, that's all up in the air for whatever you personally care about. But
right.
If you're chasing multiple species in freshwater, it's the sauger.
Right. So to wrap that up, thanks a lot, Rob. Great questions. You have a great name. Very envious of you. Rob Recker. Super cool name. Recker.rob on Instagram, so check him out. Rob gets into the bass fishing stuff. He's a super cool dude. We've got to hang out with him at the Fishing Expo a bunch.
Yeah, I think we're going to see him at the expo this weekend.
Are we?
I think he's going to be there.
Ah, cool. All right, well.
See you soon.
Yeah, maybe. But anyway,
this will be well after this podcast.
Yeah.
Saw ya.
Yeah, saw ya. Great seeing you, Rob.
Yeah.
We're in some.
You keep doing you, man.
We're in some weird time warp here, but cool. So our next segment is going to be a new staple in the show. It is a new segment called Fish Talks. So Grant and I send each other fishing TikToks
daily,
every single day. So
hourly.
We're like, hey, what the hell? Let's include them on the show and let everybody in on the joke. So if you're listening to this, I'm sorry. You just have to go find it on YouTube.
Our TikTok algorithms are very finely tuned.
Yeah.
Because we decided we were going to add this right before the show started or right before we started recording. It took like 12 minutes to find all these.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think we have like I have like 20 of them saved. We're not going to go through that many. I don't think I'll give it a good couple minutes. But
most of them are only 10 seconds long anyway. So.
Yeah. So the premise for this segment moving forward, I'm going to set some guidelines here. Anything fishing related, anything water related, anything boating related. Or animal.
There's going to be a lot of qualified captain worthy stuff on here.
Doesn't have to
Some
be
of it might be from qualified captain.
Yeah, doesn't have to be specifically fishing related, just kind of water, aquatic, boating, whatever. You kind of get the idea. That's sort of the vibe. So I have them on my phone. Grant, let's take a look at these and see what we think. I've seen this video that we're about to play first here.
Oh, God.
So we have a dude with a
stocking trunk full of what looks like trout.
Yeah, it's got to be trout, I think.
Dude busted open the hatch to let him loose.
Is that trout or no? What is that?
Yeah,
That's like pacu or something. That's not even this country.
Those are like piranha.
I don't know, but
I don't even know.
dude stands.
We were thinking it was in this country. It's definitely not.
Yeah, it's definitely not this country.
Dude busts open the release on the tank and just eats it. Goes in the water.
That's some other country. I don't know, but dude stands right in front of the barrel of this stocking truck and just eats it, and he gets
thousands of fish dumped right on his head.
Yeah, I mean, he got stocked right along with the fish, so super interesting. Our next one here. Oh, great. It's me. Yeah. Forever will live in infamy. I'm wearing the same shirt. How about that?
He is actually wearing the same shirt in the video.
That's, I have an extensive wardrobe. So what we're looking at here is just a fat idiot breaking a rod on camera. No, okay, I can explain this. So,
literally like a week before this was filmed, we were drum fishing.
Yeah, this is last year. We went drum fishing on Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel, which was a topic of our last podcast. We talked about a little bit, episode 2. I had this jigging rod, and I broke a fish off. And I got mad and slammed it down on the kayak.
Which, as you can see in the frame here, the Hobie Pro Anglers have a metal rail system that goes down the side.
The A-trail.
The A-trail system. So the blank of the rod smacked against that metal rail.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big stupid idiot
velocity.
and got mad and slammed my rod down, cracked the graphite, and I proceeded to go to Florida a week later and hook into a juvenile Goliath grouper in the mangroves. And it just explodes the rod. I mean, it dies in a tragic fashion.
If you want to look this TikTok up, just have a blast reading the comments.
Oh, yeah. It got
$400 reel and a $10 Walmart rod.
Yeah, everybody.
Every person.
I got my rod from Wish. I didn't know Kmart still existed. Like, all that good stuff. So I got drugged through the mud on this one, rightfully so, but whatever. I don't take myself too serious. So let's play this one more time. Yep. There's the fish eating. There's me setting into it, and it explodes. So, yeah. I ended up having to hand line that fish in.
Did you catch that fish?
Yeah, I caught it. Yeah, good stuff.
Comedy of errors.
Yep, it did. But ended up handlining this juvenile Goliath grouper through the mangroves. That's my buddy David Graham filming. So yeah, just another calamity of errors, but ended up landing the fish, getting a new rod, and just made some TikTok gold. That thing has 92,000 likes, so suck it, nerds. Yeah, anything for the likes. All right, moving on. I have no idea what this is. The title is "This is Why You Shouldn't Pee in Water or Drink It." And that is gross. I don't know why you included this. It is some chick drinking water out of a waterfall, and there's a dude upstream taking a leak. I did not expect to see that on here.
That's water related.
Unexpected. Okay. All right, we're going to move on.
The Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I didn't vet any of these, so I have no idea what's coming down the pipe.
That's the only questionable one.
Okay. Here we have Tug of War with the Pets. I'm guessing this is probably...
it's GTs.
GTs. They have a bait fish on a string standing on the dock.
They're not hooking them, but it's still wild. They're just plopping a cut fish in the water and GT.
That's gnarly. Cool.
Yeah,
all right.
Crazy.
Yep, seen this one a bunch.
Hate everything.
Yep.
Dude.
So this, I believe...
I'd be in the truck headed to the boat ramp.
Yeah, this is in Europe. I think maybe the River Ebro. They're either carp fishing or Wells catfish fishing. And
Dude's catching hands.
Yeah, so this dude, the way they do these fish...
that's carp, too. Look at those rods. That's not Wells catfish.
No, they do spinning for Wells cats over there. This is very well... this could easily be Wells cats. But on the River Ebro in Spain, they have very high banks, and what they do is they put all the rods together kind of in a pod, and then they paddle their baits out to different parts of the river. Well, they're up on a bluff as well, which it's partly this guy's fault because those lines were just way out there. I mean, that boat's not close to shore. But boat runs through all of his lines and almost rips about 6 rods in the water and just dumps this dude's spool and... Super good. Yep. Blue sweatpants. All good stuff. Just terrible.
Only consolation is that boat definitely does not have a prop seal anymore.
Oh, yeah. Dude.
That dude's going to put his boat on the trailer. Everything's hunky-dory. He's going to wake up tomorrow morning. There's going to be gallons of oil under his boat.
That reminds me, I need to take the prop off my Minn Kota. I have so much line in it.
Yeah,
I
that.
just remembered that. I'm glad you mentioned that. Cool. By the way, I still haven't found my 8 horsepower cowling for my outboard. So if you happen to have one of those, if you could just...
Is that a 1994?
1996.
1996 8-horse Mercury.
Yep, two-stroke.
Two-stroke.
Yep. My cowling
If you know
decided to
anyone.
go on a vacation, and it has not come back yet. So if you could send me one, that'd be great. All right, here's our next video. Backboated this hard. Guggen Squad. Oh my god. Oh, yeah. I've done this to you a couple times for sure. For sure.
Just getting wrecked.
For sure. Dude swings the back end of the boat through the trees. Oh, yeah. I've definitely done that to you a couple times, I'm pretty sure.
Have you ever been backboated?
Just hang on to the important stuff.
Jeez. Oh, my gosh. All right. Moving on.
Josh Dolan live on TikTok.
Yep. This is why you can't give me money. This dude, 25 miles offshore, and he looks like he's in a 15 horsepower John boat, or 15 foot John
That's
boat.
a homemade aluminum boat.
Yep.
There's a bunch of videos
Yep.
of that guy.
That boat definitely came over from Cuba 2 weeks ago. That's pretty cool. Oh yeah, this one's terrible.
Look at the angle of the hitch.
That's not good.
Barely
Oh
holding
my
on.
God.
Trailer is scraping.
So we have what I'm going to estimate is probably a $500,000 boat and a 50-cent trailer hitch. It's just to give you an idea about what we're looking at
Yeah, you don't
here.
pull probably 30-plus foot boats with a like Walmart Kurt brand hitch.
Yeah, that was... Well, if you look, he also had the hitch on upside down.
Love it.
See how it's curving over the top? It's not supposed to do that.
We needed that little bit of extra height.
Yeah, I'm sure he
Gotta get
did.
that trailer off the ground.
Needs 2 inches, just like all of us. All right, anyway, moving on. This is one that I saved. This
I
dude's
haven't
got
saved it.
one of the Sea-Doo, like, fishing skis or whatever. First off, he had me nervous there in the beginning.
Yeah,
Thought
I
he was going to
gonna
eat
roll
it.
off.
But, anyway, dude lands a mahi. It's pretty cool. This video is a little bit longer than what I remembered it being.
Grab that slide bar at the bottom and
Yeah, let me just
speed it
go.
up there a little bit.
Yep. Dude, dome piece is pretty solid mahi. Thought it was cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yep. It's pretty legit. Jet ski fishing is the new kayak fishing. Shit's cool. Alright, moving on. Here's what happens when you land a shark in your boat and you have no business landing a shark in your boat. You scream like a...
It reminds me of the shake. Yes thing we always do.
Yeah, just some goofy goobers landing a shark in the...
I'll give them some
Fish
credit.
and
Those things
skeever.
are way stronger than you think when you
Sure.
go to pick them up.
Okay, well...
They're hard to control, but that's still funny. They are blatantly terrified of that creature.
Yeah, they should have just not done that. Yep. And once again, if you're listening this instead of watching it, I highly recommend you watch it.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Especially going forward.
moving on. How about this? Yep. Shit my pants. That's what I do. That's terrifying.
Jesus.
Spear fisherman comes up, breaks the surface, and
There's
literally
a ski boat or like a pleasure boat coming at him full speed.
5 feet from him. Yeah, I don't know how he didn't get smoked.
It looks like his spear gun like hits the
It's
boat.
literally, it's like one of those jump scare videos. You ever see the videos where the people jump off the cliff and like the camera goes into the water and there's like a shark swimming by and it's like very clearly edited?
Yeah.
Except this is
This
real.
is not edited.
This is real. This is a dude literally almost dying. He's spearfishing, breaks the surface of the water. Imagine you open your eyes and there's a train in front of you. That's what's happening to this guy. The very first thing he sees when he breaks the surface is a boat at the end of his nose.
Terrifying.
Not great. This is pretty cool. We've seen this a couple times over the years. Dude catches a northern pike, cuts its belly open. Oh, look, a brim. Wow. Still alive.
That's cool.
They're ice fishing.
They go throw it in the hole.
Puts it back in the hole. I don't know if dude swam away. It wasn't a great effort, but
He's trying.
yeah.
We like to think he survived.
Yeah.
Makes for a better story.
So that dude is gonna have a story that nobody's gonna believe. So we have a father and a son fishing.
Dude, that's a big one too, Tristan.
This
Real.
father is very animated.
That's a big fish.
I'm so proud of you.
Keep pressure on him. Tristan. Dude, how big is it?
Oh no, I know why this is funny.
Big one.
Wait for it.
Yes. Go.
Dude gets smacked in the taint by a largemouth. Oh yeah, that kid's gonna remember that for the rest of his life.
Decent fish, too.
Yeah, it's like a 4-pounder. Anyway, gets
You
hit.
get it.
Gets slapped in the butthole by a fish. It's not great. Here we go. We got the turbo diesel Pakistan. Well, probably not Pakistan. A lot of desert out there. This is Thailand. Thailand or somewhere. Yeah, it's very Pacific. But it's like a fishing trawler that has. That's a turbo. It's got a turbo blow off. But some crab fishing.
No, never in a million years.
Oh, wait for this. Water drops back.
Yikes.
And you're underwater.
That's fine. Don't even flinch.
Yep, some crab fishermen. Anyway, this goes in line with the Thailand
And those little
fishing
diesel speedboats.
Yeah.
Those things are gnarly.
Yeah, this video goes a little different than what we normally see with them.
Oh. We see what we always imagine what would happen.
And bad day.
Yikes.
Dude skipped across the water like a stone.
Literally everything we've wondered what would happen. It's like there's no way all these guys ride these little, like,
Yeah.
basically like a dugout canoe looking
Yeah.
boat. They're itty bitty.
With like a 454 big block in it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Screaming.
He LS swapped his his wooden canoe, and wouldn't you know it, he ate shit and died. Anyway.
Probably didn't die, but who knows? Maybe he did.
I think we've seen this video before.
Yeah, that boat is gone.
This is, every time I go to Lake Michigan in my John boat, I'm terrified that this is going to happen. I mean, they sunk it.
Yeah,
that is a
it's
sunk
gone.
bass boat. But anyway. Oh, okay. We only have a couple left.
Yeah.
We have this dude. This is kind of cool. I just thought it was a cool video.
Yeah, I've seen this one.
Dude's fishing and the water's literally electric blue.
It's like Maldives stuff.
Yeah.
Crazy clear
I mean,
over a reef.
it doesn't even look real. He's got to have some sort of filter on it, but it's like the camera's looking
Sight
through
fishing
coast.
from like insanely far away.
Yeah, got some sort of little snapper reef fish or something. This is pretty interesting. I'll let you just watch it and give me your reaction. It is the ballast on the front of a ship.
What was that?
I'm pretty sure what we just watched was the very front of a tanker / cargo ship, and you have that big ballast bulge, and I'm pretty sure what we saw was a seal, and it ended up under that. So it's probably not alive anymore, unfortunately, but some really rough waves, and the thing comes up out of the water, which I haven't, and dead. So not great. I don't know.
Who knows?
This is our last one here. This is surf launching a center console-ish boat.
Yikes.
Yep.
All the yikes.
Yeah, this is just pucker factor of 12. They're trying to get this boat through the surf, and they're doing a pretty good job. I actually don't remember how this ends. I think they might have made it. But, I mean, you're talking, those are probably 8-foot breakers.
I mean, they got it now.
Yep.
They're good.
Yep.
We're out of here.
Yep. You see that a lot down in, like, Baja and stuff. Guys launching boats
You see
with
it in
tractors.
Cuba a lot. You see them guys running the boats up on the beach at like 40 miles an hour. They
Yeah.
slide them things all the way up the beach.
Yep. It's a tractor with a nose hitch that launches this boat out. And, I mean, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool stuff how they do it. But, I mean, you got to be good at your job immediately because you can't have a bad day
0
doing
to
that.
100.
Yeah. So that is our fish talk segment. I don't know. We'll sort of figure out how we're going to morph that moving forward. That way we don't sit here and just watch 20 TikToks. But like I said, if you're listening to this, then it may not be the best thing in the world, but I highly recommend you go to our YouTube and watch it. Then you'll get a little bit more enjoyment out of it. But moving on to our last topic of the episode here. The Virginia Department of Wildlife Resources just released an article on the top Virginia waters for trophy largemouth bass in 2022. We don't really have any direction on where this little segment's going to go. We just found this topic. We're kind of going to spitball it back and forth, just see what each other thinks about it, and just maybe give some opinion on the situation as a whole. And
yes, we'll list them all first, and then we'll talk about them.
Well, let me preface it. So the largemouth bass for trophy size must be a minimum of 22 inches in length or 8 pounds in weight to be considered a trophy. Smallmouth bass needs to be a minimum of 20 inches in length or 5 pounds in weight. I just mentioned that because it was also included in the article, but this is focusing specifically on largemouth. So those are your trophy requirements. So an 8-pounder or a 22-inch fish. So we'll go ahead and move forward, and you can go ahead and list them off. We can talk about it.
They listed the top 5 we'll go from the bottom to the top and run them off real quick. It's cool because we've got history fishing pretty much all of these. Number 5's Western Branch. Western Branch Reservoir in Suffolk. Number 4 is Briary Creek down in the Farmville area. What is that?
Burkeville.
Burkeville.
Yeah.
Number 3, I've not fished. It's Hunting Run Reservoir located in Spotsylvania. It's actually pretty small. It's only 420 acres.
Up around like Fredericksburg area, northern
Number
Virginia.
2, by far the largest the largest lake on the list, Smith Mountain Lake.
Yep.
20,000 acres. It is a largemouth and also known for big smallmouth at certain times of the year. And number 1, we have a lot of history fishing, Sandy River Reservoir, which is cool because number 1 and number 3, Sandy and Briary,
number 1 and number
4, are
neighbors.
5 miles from each other.
They're literally sister lakes.
Yeah, they're side by side.
But they're very different in their makeup. Sandy is more of a traditional style lake. It has a bunch of different ways to fish it. You can fish
I like Sandy. It's one of my favorite lakes to fish because if you wake up and you say, I want to go catch bass on a crankbait, you can do that. I want to go catch bass flipping, you can do that.
There's a lot of diversity.
You can do everything at Sandy.
You can target them on the points, the river channels, the pad fields, the timber. I mean, it has a little bit of there's standing timber, there's riprap, rocks.
You can catch fish on a deep crankbait all the way to a frog in the same day.
Yep. There's a lot of diversity on Sandy. But on the other side of the coin is Briary Creek Lake, which is literally a flooded forest. It's nothing but standing timber.
One of the most miserable lakes to fish.
But at one point in time, in like the early 90s...
There was a realistic chance the early 90s, early 2000s, they thought that was going to be the state record lake.
Which, rightfully so. There were
a lot of 14-pounders that came out of it.
Yep, and there's a lot of big fish. There's a lot of cover. It's a very needle and haystack feeling, but...
Briary also has a protected slot, which I don't think any of the other lakes have. It is a protected slot of 16 to 24 inches. You cannot kill bass in that slot.
I feel like Briary... I don't know. This might be completely wrong, but I feel like Briary was one of the first places they put F1s or Florida strain bass.
And a few of those fish got put in Sandy as well.
Yeah, but I feel like the deal with Briary and the reason why it was the way it was back then is I believe it was like a special strain of largemouth, like Florida strain or F1 or something.
They were using Briary almost like a
test lake.
Like a test lake. They were putting various strains of Florida strain fish in there.
Yeah.
And on paper, the idea is pretty simple. You put Florida strain fish in, you let them hybridize with northern strain, you hope to get the growth rate of a Florida fish with the longevity and length of life of a northern fish.
Yeah.
It does work that way, especially the growth rate. The growth rate seems to remain pretty stable. Those fish grow very fast, but the length of life, and it never really seemed to work out.
Yeah.
And supposedly the way the science is, after a couple generations, the Florida genes seem to get more bred out of it, and they just become more northern strain than.
But I have a brief memory of Briary Creek. I believe that they built the lake and then they put those fish in and then they let them grow for like 5 years or something. Like you couldn't even get on the water for a certain period of time. And
I think it was closed for like the first 5 years it was dammed up.
yeah, it was something like that. All of this is very loose, so don't take our word for it.
It was something like along those lines.
Yeah, and Briary became the big bass factory of Virginia, and everybody swore up and down that that's where the new state record was going to come from. It just never did. And I think Briary, there's still big fish in Briary, obviously, but
tons of them.
Believe Briary had its sweet spot, and it kind of came and went on that potential for...
Every body of water has peaks and valleys, and I personally think Briary is more in a valley right now than it is in a peak, where Sandy is probably in a peak right now.
Yeah. Well, like I said, Sandy's more conducive to keeping big fish, whereas Briary, it's all one thing. Sandy has a bunch of different types of sort of habitat for those bass to be in. So if they want to be suspended,
and prime
they can
spawning
be.
habitat too. Sandy has way more area for them to spawn than Briary does.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's just what's interesting about this is the names that aren't on the list: Chickahominy Lake, Chickahominy River, the James.
We talked about this the other day when we were spitballing this topic about whether or not we were going to talk about it. These are strictly off of the citation reports. This is not off of shocking results. This is just off of the number of citations that were turned in. And the numbers are fairly low. I mean, 16 is what you got for Sandy, and that's number one.
Yeah, that's 16 trophy.
I've fished tournaments on the James.
Yeah.
And can guarantee you, I mean, 175 boat tournament, there were way more than 16 citation largemouth caught in that tournament. Nobody's turning those fish in.
Yeah, well, see, a list like this is inherently flawed because there's too many variables that nobody can really control.
Yeah.
So one of your variables is you could have a guy that just an angler that Sandy River's in his backyard and he loves fishing there and he really cares about catching citations and turning citations in. So, yeah. He might have a really good year, and he might catch 16, or he might catch 6, or he might catch an abnormal number in
who knows how many of these citations on each body of water could potentially come from one dude.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the thing. So there's a bunch of different variables that come in here. And then you have the other side of that, which you have guys that fish, say, Chick Lake or one of these other lakes that catch big fish all the time and don't really care about the citation program and don't turn anything in. So this is kind of it gives you a good idea about where you want to go if you want to catch a citation, but it doesn't really give you a good idea about where the true big fish are.
Because this kind of like bounces off with the whole Master Angler Program too. Like, this is the kind of information that you can use if you're looking for multiple species or different species citations to chase them. Like the Virginia Game Inland Fisheries or DWR website now is, I mean, you can search, hey, I'm looking for a whatever citation. Yeah. You can select that fish and it will show you the citation reports for the last year. And you have all that data at your disposal. I mean, literally 1 year ago, you could say, where was I want to find a black crappie. Where were they all caught? Okay, there were 50 turned in from this body of water. There were 30 from this body of water. And then it's just, okay, let me look up that body of water. Right. Well, that one is 20,000 acres, and this one had 2 less citations than the 20,000 acre one, and it's only 60 acres. Yeah. Might want to go to the 60 acre lake. Like, just little stuff like that. That's how we find a lot of these different species. That's how everybody should be starting their search if you're trying to find a species you haven't caught.
So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring up the state's
citation report for largemouth.
Yeah, I'm going to bring it up, and I'm going to click on Sandy River, and I'm going to see if we're going to go 2022, the entire year. Body of water, Sandy River Reservoir. And I'm going to see if we have one dude that has happened to catch more than other people. I just want to see if there's one particular angler that is turning more in than anybody else. Let's see if the thing will work. Of course, it's giving me a hard time right now. But let's see. But yeah, I mean that's the inherent problem with this stuff. There we go, Sandy River Reservoir, and then we're going to click. Oh, there we go. We're gonna click largemouth bass. Let's see what comes up here. Okay, I have largemouth bass, the year of 2022 in Sandy River Reservoir. Here's all. There were 16 turned in. Okay,
And
right.
This is public information. You can go right to the DWR website and find this in like 10 seconds.
Well, right off the bat, we have a man by the name of Charles Lancaster that turned in 3.
Congratulations, Charles. So
Yep.
16 fish turned in, and 3 of them were by one guy.
Yep. The problem I have with the state and what they're trying to do is they have these ways of looking stuff up, and none of it works well. Like the site design on Virginia's state website is not that good. It makes it very hard to look stuff up.
I will give this study a little bit of credit, because if you're looking at just these 5 lakes, all 5 of them are known for being big bass lakes.
Yeah.
Every one of them. I mean, Smith Mountain, out of all these lakes, and I hate fishing Briary. I just do not enjoy fishing that lake at all.
Yeah.
I would fish that lake 1,000 times before I fish Smith once.
Yeah.
Smith Mountain is brutal. That lake, I've fished a couple tournaments on that lake. 20 foot of visibility is the norm. Drop shot, shaky head, ultra finesse stuff like Ned rigs in 25 foot of water on humps, points, dock fishing. It's so
Here
boring
we go.
to fish
So I
that place.
got it brought up again. So
But it does have a lot of big fish. And it's got a lot of big smallmouth. So that's cool. But
So Charles Lancaster turned in 3. A guy named Timmy Buter, he turned in 3. That looks like that's all of them. So you have 2 particular guys that have turned in 3.
So that's 6 of the 16 right there.
Right.
2 dudes.
And then you have 10 other individuals that turned 1 in. So it's not a lot. So
bass is a weird species, because hardcore bass fishermen don't typically turn their citations in.
Yeah,
overall.
I mean,
I feel like everybody turns in like 1, and then they don't turn in another one until they beat it and stuff like that.
Let's see what Smith Mountain looks like. God, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to do this. The state's website is just so buggy. I can't even, look what it's doing. Why is it doing that? It's scrolling the fish icon, but not the list. I don't know. But just take our word for it. So this list is a little inherently flawed, because you could have really great lakes like Chickahominy Lake or, Chickahominy River. Help me out here. What's a couple other ones that aren't being listed?
Just the James River in general.
The
guys caught, all the fish caught in those barge pits.
Lake Cahoon has some big largies.
Prince, Mead, all those.
The Potomac.
Not so much Potomac.
No, Rappahannock.
No.
Okay, we're striking out here. Good.
Yeah, but in terms of tidal bodies of water, your Bass River is the James or the Chick. There's the reason the Elite Series comes there.
Well, let's look at the Chick. Let's just see what the Chickahominy.
So it's the same problem we're saying. Like, a lot of these pure bass guys, they're not turning in citations, and a lot of guys don't have certified scales.
Yep.
So they're not weighing bass and turning them in.
Chickahominy Lake had 3 turned in all year last year, which is nothing.
I've seen pictures of 30.
Chickahominy River had 3 turned in. So you had 6 between the lake and the river. Chickahominy River is arguably one of the best bodies of water in the mid-Atlantic for largemouth bass.
It's probably the best tidal river.
Yeah.
For hundreds of miles.
Yeah.
In either direction.
So that's the thing. This list is cool, and it's cool that the state's trying to promote it, but it's flawed because you do have guys out there that aren't.
There's probably a lot of guys that fish the Chick right now. They're like, thank God.
Yeah.
Get some of these boats off this river.
Well, I think the thing that the state, we're beating a dead horse here, but there's not enough emphasis being put on the citation program, the Angler Recognition Program. It's sort of from 2 guys that, and it's not just us 2, it's everybody we've talked to that participates in the Angler Recognition Program. It sort of feels like it's been put on like an autopilot,
Yeah.
and they're not putting effort for like.
Well, so much of it is you have to do it yourself now.
Yeah, I mean, so we went, which is fine. It's not a big deal if we have to turn in our stuff online, but that's not the problem I have.
Honestly,
initially.
I'd prefer the online turning in part. That makes it a lot easier.
So, for instance, here's the two major differences between, let's say, 2019 and 2023.
Pre-COVID.
2019, you would catch your citation, you turn it in, you'd mail it in or whatever. They'd send you a certificate. It might take a little bit longer than what it does now, but it would be a nice certificate on nice cardstock paper that had artwork for a fish. And granted, you have those dudes out there that are like, oh, I don't do it for the paperwork. Well, guess what? If I'm going to do it and I'm going to get a piece of paperwork,
I'd like it to be nice.
Yeah, I'd like it. I mean, it's not, you don't have to be embarrassed to say you want to do it.
Yeah.
I'm doing this for the paperwork. You do it for the experience and the fun and everything. But ultimately,
it's just like mounting a fish. You want to hang a thing on the wall.
Yeah. Do you want failed taxidermy or do you want something that looks good?
Yeah.
It's easy to understand. If you're doing it and you want to participate in the Master Angler program, you want your end result to be a nice certificate, something you can take pride in.
Yeah.
And you can look at it. It could be a centerpiece. It could be a talking point. Look at this great artwork. What's this about? Somebody may not know it. Then you can talk to them about it. What we have now is a program in which you turn it in online. They've tightened up some of the parameters. Like it can't just be
a witness signature and yep, that happened.
You have to have photo proof,
You have to
which
have
I
photo evidence.
think helps a lot considering the amount of citations that were getting turned in. They were a little fishy. Like I don't know,
Catch 100 and something trout citations in 4 days.
Yeah, just completely random stuff that, I mean, you just pull anything out, any number. Oh, I caught 100 largemouth citations 3 weeks ago.
If you've got $5 per citation, you used to just be able to turn it in and game on.
Right, so it's a little weird, but, and there's multiple instances of individuals doing that type of thing, and it raises eyebrows. It's like, okay, what's happening here? But
we've been told in less words that there was some reasoning behind changing it.
There's a few people out there that we've heard about that are kind of cheating the system, which is
pointless. Like this is
nobody cares about this.
There's an honor system involved in this, and you're only doing this to.
Who are you bragging to?
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't pay anything. Why are you doing this? Anyway, but
that's the kind of person that like buys stuff from a gift shop and displays it in their fishing room,
or like gets a trophy made
for an award that doesn't exist.
Right. Yeah. It's just super weird stuff. But who would do that? No person in their right mind would go and get a trophy made for an award that
doesn't have a trophy.
Yeah, I mean, crazy, but whatever. I just imagine somebody doing that. You know what I mean? Getting a trophy made for a made-up award. I mean, crazy, but whatever. Surely that person isn't out there. There's not a guy out there that got a trophy made for an award that nobody cares about, and then puts the trophy in a room that nobody sees. I mean, that's psychotic behavior. But I know that guy's not out there anywhere. Anyway.
That person sees it.
Yeah. Anyway, but moving on.
God, my fishing room looks so cool.
But the problem with that situation is every time that guy turns in a citation, it's $5 to the state. So state has a really, really hard time
turning that money away.
Yeah. I mean, that's the same reason why they haven't raised the blue cat citation. I mean, what is it?
30 pounds.
30 pounds or 38 inches. That's
once the weather warms up,
I could go get the frozen ballyhoo out of my freezer right now and go catch a citation in 20 minutes.
You remember those rotten, 8-month-old worms that were in your boat?
Yeah. Yeah.
Fair game.
So
anywhere that meets the James River, drop it in there.
Right. Anytime you have money involved, it gets a little weird. It's hard to turn citations away. Luckily, there's a new director of the program in. He saw the kind of weirdness and the discrepancies that were happening, so
that part of the program is definitely on the up and up now.
Yeah, and we appreciate it. And if you happen to be listening to this and you hear us dragging you about the paperwork, I want you to know on the other side of that, we really appreciate you tightening the regulations up. If you by some chance are listening to this. But yeah, they laid the hammer down. Hey, you can't just make stuff up and turn it in. You have to have photo proof. Great. everybody's on board with that. I don't know why you wouldn't be. The problem is, which is what what we're getting at, is now the citation paperwork, which
the thing is, now that it requires a tighter, more
right,
it requires more
effort.
How to say this? Yes, it requires more effort to submit.
Right.
It has tighter parameters to submit.
Right. It's more on us to do now. So
Yes.
now we're getting on the computer. We're entering all our stuff in. It goes to a vetting
We
process.
have to have more stuff. We have to have, if you want to turn in a weight citation now and you did not physically take the fish to a weigh station, like Josh and I have certified scales.
Right.
So we can weigh these fish on site.
Right.
Release them live and get a weight citation
Right.
if you want it.
Yeah.
But if you choose to do that now, you have to have a photo of the fish on the scale, entire fish visible and scale visible.
Yep.
Make sure you're not tugging on the tail, doing whatever.
Yeah.
And you still, I believe, have to have a witness signature.
I don't know about that.
I think you
know
have to write a witness
just
down.
the photo.
Yeah.
It's super easy with a 1 pound 6 ounce white perch, but it's incredibly difficult
with a
with
20-pound carp.
or a 48-inch long nose gar. I have a long arm to try to get the scale. It was just a shit show.
Yeah.
But so what we're getting at
Still,
is
the requirements have been upped and the program has been tightened, and
Right.
it is more on the angler to handle the process.
but the issue we have is with these certificates. You went
The
from,
result is less.
You went from
Or-
paying $5, sending in all your stuff, and then getting this really nice card stock. I personally consider it a piece of artwork because it is.
I mean, it literally has Michael Simon's watercolor artwork on it.
Each species had its individual watercolor photo. It looked great. Some of the best trophy paperwork in the game.
Out of all the
Out
states,
of any of them.
out of all the states that do this kind
Right.
of stuff, ours was the best.
So paying the $5, getting that. Instead, now what we do is we pay the $5, we put it online, and then we have to print out our own certificate, which wouldn't be a big deal.
If
But
it was the previous, I can go buy cardstock.
but now what it looks like is, without
There are
exaggeration,
no photos of the photos of the fish
it looks
anymore.
like a kindergarten participation trophy. It's very and even it's very clear minimum effort was put in.
Yes.
They white out over top of other names and
The signature is photocopied on top of the other signature,
Yeah.
and half of the previous signature is still visible.
it's just a very clear low effort try at
Just
doing
like a generic fish border with a bunch
Right.
of random species. It just has the word name of the
Yeah.
fish you caught in bold letters.
Right. And you're printing it out, and it's on printer paper and whatever. So it's not the problem we have lies with what you get after you do this. I spent thousands of dollars trying to catch a brown trout. I still haven't caught it. It's not a trophy brown. All I wanted was that brown trout artwork, paperwork. It's something I can be proud of. You've walked this. You've walked this long road of trying to accomplish this, and when you finally do it, this is basically your consolation. Yes, you caught the fish, but you also have this nice piece of artwork. You don't have that anymore. You have a participation trophy. So that's our gripe. And on top of that, they say they did this to streamline the program and make it easier on them. That way there's less mistakes made. You don't get a blue cat citation with a picture of a flathead or vice versa, which happened to our buddy Andy.
Or Andy, who the crappie was like his white whale, just he could not catch a crappie citation, and then he catches a red ear citation, and they send him a crappie citation.
Yeah, it was some weird stuff like that. It was just streams getting crossed, things being weird.
Yeah.
So they did away with the artwork so there'd be less mistakes, but there's just as many mistakes now. You get on the website on the thing that
Did we see like a 12-pound rock bass?
Yeah, it's just weird stuff like that. Or it'll either be certain fish there's no way they weigh that much, or it'll be like a 10-pound blue cat, which is very clearly under the citation. It's just,
but it's still getting turned in and listed as a citation.
there's
caught.
still discrepancies in the system. So it's like, what is happening here? Like, what? At this
point, I don't understand why anything was changed.
I hate to be cynical, but it just feels like some government stuff where you're paying the same amount and you're getting less for your money.
Yeah.
And they say that they can't do the paperwork artwork printout version of it, but there's no way. You have to be able.
You still have to have the artwork somewhere.
If they made it to where
You
the
physically
I mean, the new certificate.
You produced all these certificates. What happened
yeah,
to the old ones?
it just doesn't. Their reasoning doesn't make sense. The whole thing kind of doesn't make sense. It just sort of feels like
Well,
it's
the whole thing is
cop-out.
they always say it's to make it easier on DWR. Like we're trying to make it easier, but also give you a decent product. Blah blah blah.
Right.
But like, nothing has really changed overall. There's still just as
Right.
many mistakes. We're dealing with all the same stuff. We're just getting less.
Right.
There's we still don't understand why it ever had to be changed.
Yeah.
They added 5 new species.
You could have easily gotten artwork done for 5 new species.
Or just for the time
and
being.
it really wouldn't have cost a lot.
No.
I mean, you could outsource that. But, right, so to tie all of that back into this conversation about the
that
trophy
long tangent.
largemouth. Yeah, that's a very long tangent. 9 citations turned in for Western Branch Reservoir for an entire year is not a lot of citations. Yeah. Even 16 for
this
Sandy
isn't
River.
the best survey. I mean, it's
no,
decent,
but what I'm getting,
like,
hold on, I'm going somewhere with this.
Yeah.
16 citation largemouth for an entire year of Sandy River Reservoir is not a lot.
Yeah.
And I think the reasoning is that the state citation program has really fallen off. And I think if they produced this to kind of give you an idea about, oh, this is our top trophy largemouth waters. But I think what it really shows is how few people are turning in citations, because
there's nothing to gain anymore. What are you getting?
You're just not getting your money's worth anymore.
Yeah, what's my $5 doing anymore?
Right. Which
my $5 is giving me the right to print out a piece of paper on my own computer.
Right, and I'm more than happy to support the DWR and all they've done and all the people that work there and the citation program. The citation program has single-handedly given me the structure to get where I'm at now. It's why I didn't go to college. I was in high school looking at the citation program and fixating on all these fish. I've seen parts of the state that I never would have went to without it. I've done all kinds of stuff I never would have did if this program wasn't in place. But the problem is every year it gets a little worse and it gets a little worse until the point you turn in a citation report and your number 4 and number 5 lakes are tied at 9 citations for an entire year. Think of how many people fish Briary Creek Lake in a year or Sandy River Reservoir in a year, and 9 citations is all you can come up with. And worse than
There's
that,
only 57 citations out of the top 5 lakes.
Yeah, that's not good.
No.
It's not good. I mean, the type of program that existed in, say, 2010, that should be what we're doing. It should be promoting this program, promoting the awards you get for it, promoting the paperwork, having something to be proud of, and getting people out there and doing it. Getting those guys that are in high school right now that look at the program and go, oh, that looks cool.
Yeah.
As an 18-year-old kid, I saw that artwork. I'm like, holy shit, that's super cool. I want to go do that. And I just think more so than learning about the trophy largemouth in the state, I think this article has shown just how far, in my perception, that the program has slipped.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, you're talking about the most popular,
by far the most popular sport fish on the planet,
and especially in the state, and all the Great Lakes we have. And, we got, 57 citations turned in out of the top 5 lakes. It's not a lot. No. And especially when you're talking about places like Briary Creek, Sandy River, 20,000 acre Smith Mountain Lake?
Yeah.
And then just the ones that are glaring, the ones that don't make the list, Chick Lake, Chick River, stuff like that.
James River.
River, yeah. They're just not on there.
That tournament, the last tournament I fished with Connor on the James, was a spring tournament during the spawn.
Yeah.
And the top 12 boats all had an 8 or 9 pounder because they all went and fished the barge pits all day.
So I think
that's one tournament, just those boats.
Right.
And those are weight citations. A 22-inch river largemouth does not weigh 8 pounds.
And granted, the glitter boat dudes don't really care.
They don't care.
They're playing a different game than everybody else.
But I'm saying this.
But it's a very obvious point towards where it's kind of fallen off from, So I urge you to participate in the Master Angler Program, the Angler Recognition Program. If you're thinking about doing it, or if you haven't heard about it, go look it up or message me. I'd be more than happy to talk to you about it. But in that same breath, I think anglers need to be contacting the state and really voicing their displeasure with this, because I think it's really fallen off. And if from where our angler recognition program came from to where it is now, I don't think it's a good thing, and I think it needs to come back to where it was. And I mean, we have some of the hardest citations in the country.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about it either the first episode or the last episode, but like our requirements are bigger than, like, our brown trout requirements are bigger than Michigan. Our
smallmouth's bigger than Manitoba.
Yeah.
Manitoba, you only need to catch a 19-incher.
Right.
We have to catch a 20 here.
Right. We have ridiculous trophy I think our bowfin is bigger than Florida's.
Our largemouth is the same as Florida's.
Yeah,
8
right.
pounds.
So we have this highly prestigious program that has just sort of gotten anemic over, say, probably the past decade. And I think as anglers, if you're an angler in Virginia and you're a trophy fisherman, you're a multi-species person, and you really care about the program, I think we need to make an effort towards pointing those people maybe in the direction of changing things, which, we've bitched all we can bitch about it. If there's more people on board, then maybe something will change with it. But I think that's just kind of, that's what that thing taught me anyway.
Yeah.
But do you have anything else to say about that?
No, I mean, it is noteworthy that all 5 of the lakes that made the study are known big bass bodies of water.
Right.
Which, with less and less people turning in citations, that still does give you a little bit of an idea. Like, hey, even though not a lot of people are turning in citations, these are still probably 5 of them. I would say all 5 of these would probably still be in the top 10 in the whole state.
Oh, yeah, for sure. The one that sticks out to me is Hunting Run.
Yeah, it's only 400 acres.
Yeah, I'm going to try to pull that one up real quick.
It's half the size of Sandy.
I'm going to try to pull that one up before we...
How are we looking on time?
Hour and 45.
Yeah,
we'll wrap it up soon. We added another segment in today. We need to sort of
for that.
Figure out where we go from here. Sort of rein it all in.
Yeah, like if basically Hunting Run is the size, if you're standing on the boat ramp at Sandy, looking across, basically everything you can see with your eyes right there is the size of Hunting Run.
Okay, let's see. I'm trying to pull it up. We have one dude that caught 2, one dude that caught 3. Okay, so we have some repeats on there. We have Michael Hogan that caught 3 trophy largemouth out of there in June and July, and then we have a Frank Bogdan that caught 2 trophy largemouth in April and May. So, not a ton of repeats. So that's kind of cool to see. I mean, Hunting Run is actually somewhere I've never fished. I mean,
I've never fished
2 out of the 5 on this list I've never been. I've never been to Smith Mountain Lake, and I've never been to Hunting Run. So, and Hunting Run used to be one of the only places you could get a northern pike back in the day. That's where the state record northern pike, 31 pounds and some change, comes from. So it's sort of interesting. But
I mean, it's the same kind of situation. That lake is less than half the size of the next smallest lake on the whole thing. So 11 out of a 420-acre lake, that's pretty substantial.
Yep.
It's the same thing we dealt with the crappie.
Yeah.
Back when we were both looking for a crappie citation, you look at number 1 is every year is bugs or cur or whatever.
Yep.
And then you look at like number 2 through 5 are all lakes that are less than 1/100th the size of bugs. You're like, even though they might have substantially less citations than bugs, the percentage is going to be way higher because you have way less habitat to target.
Yeah. So the citation program,
chasing the number of citations just because the body of water has the most doesn't always mean it's the best place to go.
Yeah, there's a lot of variables to look at when you deal with all that stuff. That's part of the fun of it, just picking your poison. What do you want to do? Do you want to go fish in a 20,000-acre lake, or do you want to go fish a 500-acre lake? And you have an equal chance at a trophy fish in both. So that's the cool thing about Virginia. There's a lot of diversity. I don't mean to be negative towards the program or anything like that, but we offer so much. I think we're really selling ourselves short with diminishing the return on the whole deal. So, anyway.
I mean, we have probably one of the most diverse freshwater fisheries in the world in Virginia.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think we've already talked about this, but you're talking about muskie, 2 hours west from Richmond, muskie. 2 hours east, redfish. I mean, you're not getting.
Just fisheries in general, but still, I mean, you have everything from brook trout to snakehead.
You literally,
and
I don't know if you can do that anywhere else in the country. 2 hours west to muskie, 2 hours east to redfish.
Maybe the very northern portion of North Carolina.
Maybe.
They do have brook trout, but like you're literally right here. These are the only two places.
Yeah. So we're in a special
Pretty
area.
much it.
We're in a special area with a lot of special fish, and
but like not only just that to say brook trout to redfish, but we have
or muskie to redfish.
Muskie to redfish, either way. But we have everything else in between too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean,
so just something to think about. But anyway, I think we're probably gonna wrap it up on that note. You got anything else to?
Nope.
All right. Cool. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. I want to. I want to recommend if you're listening to this on like a Spotify or an Apple podcast, wherever you're consuming this, if it has a function to rate us 5 stars if you enjoy it. I think that somehow helps it elevate in the list when people search fishing podcasts. But what are you doing? Switch that mixer again. It's frozen on my screen. Go figure, an hour and 49 minutes in, we're having technical difficulties. I don't know. Something's up with it. Hopefully it hasn't froze on the other end of things. But anyway, I'll wrap it up. Rate us 5 stars if you dare. Be sure to check out our other podcasts on
share, and subscribe.
The Have Rods Will Travel Podcast Network. Check out haverodswilltravel.com for videos, podcasts, articles, all that good stuff. Get a little educational or entertainment at the same time. And think that's all I have. So thanks for tuning in to episode 3 of Have Rods Will Travel. I'm Josh Dolan.
And I'm Grant Elvis.
We will catch you next time.
Peace.